Hey Morgan, what you mean by that, my boy? Thank you to our $5 patron, Sinus Lancelot. And a big thank you to our $25 patron, the Mr. Greed. Now, before we have this breakdown / review of chapter 323 of Black Clover, please leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure to hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below, and I'd appreciate any support you're willing to give. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I got a pencil here, and here we are, to chapter 323 of Black Clover, which is known as Partner. And honestly, it's a pretty appropriate name for this entire chapter, because this chapter is really like a whole team of duos, and duos that I kind of expect the first one that we see and the last one, but there was a duo in this chapter that for some reason just never ever clicked into my mind. Honestly, all you needed was Asta and Yuno in here, and we'd have an entire lineup of duos. But however, we get to see actually three that I should have seen coming, but I didn't. But notably, hop into the chapter, and we get to see that Yami ain't doing too hot. He's I can't tell, it's maybe just the perspective. Is he crushed under a rock? Because notably the rock disappears, right? And I think that's because I'm not sure if that's because of Rogue or because of Gray. Because the rock seems to change to something else, a bed of flowers, and I think that's Gray's magic. But I guess that's because Rogue activated its, notably, it doesn't seem like, well, no, it doesn't seem like Rogue deactivated either. Rogue just gets to fill back up for some reason, because notably it was falling, but then it weaves itself back into existence fully. I guess Vanessa's magic is being restored somehow, and of course, Gray pops up after changing the rock into a bed of flowers, and is like, I'm here, I'll heal him, let's do it. And of course, Gray goes to heal him, and we see that Gray notices something specific about Yami that is interesting to say the very least. It makes me wonder about William. The structure of Yami's body has been altered, essentially fundamentally. So remember when Xenon got a devil heart? Well, Yami upgraded. Yami upgraded without having to sacrifice the soul, because Yami now apparently has devil biology. And interesting, for some reason, I guess it makes sense, but does this mean William has a devil heart now too? What does this mean for it? Is this just a biological amp? Does that mean Yami can't be destroyed by conventional means now? You have to, if I were to stab Yami in the heart, no, say not me, because I couldn't, but say Langris, when he pulled up this chapter, was like, I sense a devil, and he just threw spatial magic at Yami, would it just bounce off his heart? Because notably, we've seen that a devil's heart of whatever Xenon's caliber wasn't able to actually completely get rid of a devil heart. It kind of just ignored it. Spatial magic can't even wipe out a devil's heart. You need Saint Stage tier magic or anti-magic. So what does this mean for Yami? Is he just that dude now? But regardless, I guess what happened is, as by being a conduit for the tree but being freed before his life was fully taken up, he's kind of infused with the underworld now, even more so than he was before, because notably dark magic was already a magic considered to be from the underworld, but now on top of that, his very biology has changed to accommodate being an underworld vessel, or being a conduit for that world, and thusly he's still mostly human. That's why his body's a wreck, but his heart and a lot of his internal structure is much more like a devil. As Gray says, he's actually built like Lieb now. How she knows that? I don't know, actually. How does she know what Lieb is built like? Is there something I'm forgetting? Did Gray ever heal Asta? I thought Mimosa always healed Asta. Am I tripping? I don't know why she knows what Lieb's internal body structure looks like, but apparently she does. But notably, he's also overflowing with magic. So I'm guessing all the devils that passed through, they just left remnants. And after the manifestation was destroyed, thanks to Yami and William being in the middle of it, they're just magic gains out the membrane. So now Yami, as being a key, absorbed all of that. So now he's overflowing with magic. All he needs is a properly functioning body. And once he gets a little bit healed up, he actually manages to manifest Black Moon, which is his little mini domain. and that's why they're all able to stand up pretty well. And I guess it's half Rogue. Rogue. Is it Rogue or Rouge? Rogue or Rouge? I think it's Rouge. I think it's Rouge or Rogue. Whatever. I'm going to switch back and forth. But I think they were initially able to stand up because of Rogue. I switched up right there. But now with Yami's Black Moon, they're able to stand up just fine because obviously we know that if you have your own sort of monozone of any type, you can kind of ignore Lucci's presence, which is a good thing, at least for our cast. And I love how he's like, it's a Yami kind of thing to say and do, but he's like, whoo, man, y'all really got my behind out of that one. He was on the verge of death, and they just barely managed to bring him back. So that's always cool to see. But of course, we see someone else pop through, and this is an interesting trio, right? Because we got Langris, Patry, and William. And apparently, I guess William didn't have the same results as Yami. Is it because, but William's magic is tree magic, and it was inherently tied to the underworld too, wasn't it? Or was Yami supposed to be the underworld conduit, and the world tree magic was just supposed to be like the tree, Killpaw, conduit? I don't know, but apparently William doesn't have any way that he could fight Lucci, and Patry doesn't either because he doesn't have Agriamore. But like Patry, like you don't need Agriamore to use your magic. Like you can at least fire some light beams. I know you're fodder now, but still, like any support would be appreciated. And also, William, why are you just taking yourself out of the battle, bro? Like we have someone who can heal you right here. Help. Like even if they hold him down or something, like you're telling me Yami was the only one who got super buff. I know why. I know why he's not allowed to fight and stuff like that, because it's not his narrative. He's not one of the Black Bulls. He's one of the Golden Dawn, captain of the Golden Dawn. And apparently, the Golden Dawn has to take a backseat right now. It's Black Bulls time because they're pretty much the MVPs of this chapter. But Patry's like, hey, I can't fight because I'm just not that dude anymore. Don't got my Grimoire. I have this dark elf eye for nothing now. And William's like, I would have helped fight. Kind of tired though. Don't really care. Got my elf boyfriend with me. I'm gonna keep it pushing. So he decides to give this blade, which is World Tree Magic Blade of Mistelin. And for some reason, I thought Gray would transmute so William's magic literally just let him make a sword. And it's gonna be a pretty dull sword too, because he's gripping that thing and he's not getting cut. So like, Yami, do you really want this sword? No, great. Could you restructure to be a little bit sharper? But no, apparently William infused all his remaining magic into that blade, and he's leaving the rest to Yami. So I guess this will be like the Tree of Manifestation fighting back against Lucci. Like I guess that's what it's going to be, because it's like an Uno reverse card. Like no, this is actually kind of funny. This is like your mom and dad saying, "I brought you into this world, and I can take you out of it," because that's their main goal right now. And this is obviously the tree and the dark magic what brought them into the world. Now trying to take them out of it. And apparently Yami still hasn't forgiven William for all that elf business. And notably, I was still a bit confused about that at first. Yeah, if you do remember, how does Yami know it? Was he told? I forget. Was he told that William willingly gave up control to Patry, and that led to Julius's reversion and weakness and stuff like that? Like, is that what happened? I forget. Like, there's so many things I'm forgetting in this chapter. Like, when did Gray notice that Lieb? When did Gray get a study of Lieb's biology to know that Yami's own biology had changed to that of a devil? When did this whole elf business holdover become a thing? Like, I don't remember, but it makes sense. That was kind of a mean move. But of course, Yami has to do this because this situation is bigger than that now. They don't need all the help they can get. But we see that I'm not sure if he says to William or if he's saying this to Not. Or, like, I'm not sure, because the text bubbles don't have any, like, arrows on them. So this may be in a situation where he says, we cut back to the end of the last chapter, he's like, if we get back home alive, let's have a drink. So, gotta get drunk. Do what you do. And shout outs to Yami here, because admittedly, while he seems to be stressing himself a lot more than Lucci is, like, you can literally see every vein on Yami's body just exploding with pressure and tension because of how much force Lucci has put behind this punch. It's cool that he's able to hold it back at all. And once again, I'm guessing this is just from Devil Amps and Gray Reinforcement. I know Lucci likely isn't swinging full force, but this is very impressive for Yami, a character who was struggling with 80% Dante. And he's not using any mana here, or at least it doesn't seem like it. So maybe this buff was like a real buff. Like this man got swole. Of course, we see that Lucci acknowledges that he has dark magic. And I love how he's made objective is still Asta. He's like, man, dark magic. I'll deal with you later. And he like finishes the swing through. Because I guess Yami, like, he stopped him, but Lucci kind of held himself back a little bit once he acknowledged what actually blocked him. He was like, oh, dark magic. And that's once again just a testament to Lucci's raw physical strength. But of course, it's not raw. It's magically reinforced, I'm assuming. But even still, Lucci's magically reinforced physical strength that he managed to, with half a punch really, like barely any extra momentum, he managed to swing the arguably strongest, if not second strongest character. I'm not sure how strong Asta is relative to Yami, but Yami has more visible gains. But our physically strongest character, who just got a Devil Amp this far, like he swung it with half a swing. That's just, once again, showing Lucci's dominance in the battlefield. And of course, we see that Lucci's about to go swing on Asta, who is just like, well, time to die. But we see people running up, and this is a speed feat. It may be an outlier. It definitely should be an outlier. But Zora and Nero, I'm sorry, I don't know why my brain leaps so far away from that. But Zora and Nero, Sekre, her name is Sekre. I'm sorry, I don't know why I blanked on that. She hasn't been in the narrative for a while. All right, BBB. But Zora and Sekre leap in and they combine their magics. They use reverse counter trap magic times mana method sealing magic. So essentially what they did was just like lock him in place for a little bit, because they essentially negated his force by using trap. Oh my. They negated his force and paused it by using trap magic and locked him there with trap magic. But in order to keep the spell's effects there without like initiating the kickback and essentially keeping Lucci frozen there, Sekre also sealed the magic that Zora was using. So it's kind of like they're in like a time lock state. Even though they aren't really frozen in time, they're just frozen in place. And I love how, despite these two working together, they both readily admit to themselves after flexing a little bit, like Zora's like, hey, I'm a senpai, and but Zora's like, hey, I'm a senpai, and Sekre's like, hey, I'm a rookie. But they both mentally acknowledge together, like, we only have a few seconds before he just straight raw overpowers them. And notably, Asta's just like sandwiched between the two. Or, well, not sandwiched between. Oh, and Rogue is there too. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, where did Rogue go? Like, we see Rogue run up with Zora and Sekre, but then by the time Lucci's fist makes contact with Zora, I don't actually see him. Maybe Rogue is like on Asta to try and keep him safe, so that'd be cool. But of course, we see Yami give him praise, like, nice work, you evil-eyed idiots. And I guess they both are they're a little bit malicious in their intent and their appearances, so it makes sense. But Nox is like, yo, Yami, let me level with you real quick, bro. I had this whole dramatic death scene planned out perfectly. It was going to be so clean, dog. Why are you interrupting it? Like, I was going to get all the fans sad. I was going to cry, and they were going to cry, and I was going to die, and I was going to prove that you can introduce a character pretty late into the narrative and still get some emotional reaction out of them. I was going to prove that weird pencil do wrong. Like, come on now. You could see it. It was so close. Why'd you have to ruin my moment, man? And like, didn't say anything near that. He was just like, my death is no concern to me. Yami's like, yo, you need to shut up. But actually, the main reason that Nox is like so ready for the death path, I guess, like, for a dude that survived through so much, like, insane amounts of nonsense, is what this man has lived through. He's like, yeah, you remind me a bit too much of my former self, my boy. I'm trying to get myself up out of here because I hate my old self. I hate that version of me so much. So please just get lost. I already took away Morgan. I don't want it. I'm not happy about that. And on top of that, I'm not going to let you throw your life away trying to save mine because you're my friend. I know you don't view me as a friend because I'm just not that dude anymore. I kind of disappeared for a while. But, man, let me just go. But, of course, due to them being precious friends, there's no such thing as a one-sided friendship. That's called stalking. We have Yami just straight from it being like, yo, dum-dum, listen here. You gonna keep living. I don't care how much plot armor I gotta put on you. You gonna stay in this world because you my friend too. We homie. Dap me up right here, right now. And of course, they dap each other up. They dab on Lucifero, and the whole conflict's over. By the way, manga ended it right here. Nah, but they do straight up admit. Well, no, Yami admits they are friends, and he's not gonna let a friend stick. He's not gonna let his friend die for him for no reason, right? Like, he literally says a man doesn't need a reason to stick his neck out for a friend. Knocked. And of course, that's a really cool thing, right? Because for the longest time, due to the way Knock apparently was talking, well, not apparently, the way Knock talked about Yami, the way their relationship seemed to have changed over the years, the fact that Knock was not an active member of the Black Bulls, or at least towards the earlier parts of the narrative, it very readily implied that these two, whatever friendship they had in the past, was destroyed, or at least it wasn't kept up. And thusly, if these two even did reunite, it may have not been the most pleasant reunion. It was just going to be something that they're like, hey, well, time to die against the Demon King. And they're like, yeah, time to die against the Demon King. And then they go die against the Demon King. But, of course, after all this time, after all they've been through together, and after all the memories they made, their friendship still lasted strong throughout time. And I think that's very, very cool. That's a good message to show, right? Because something I always call Yami, even though I haven't called him this in a video yet, I don't think. I always like to call him the lost protagonist. Like, you could definitely just tell Yami's whole story in the same way that you're telling Asta's, and it'd be just as fulfilling in my mind. Yami has his own full cast of friends and stuff like that. Like, there's a whole backstory behind Yami. He even has the rival / friend in Morgan / Noct. So that's all very, very cool. And I suppose Noct would be the that became jaded, right? The that gave up on any real goals, the that stepped to the side and decided to give into despair, but still felt like he needed to be useful because he had the ability to. So of course he lets himself be useful, even if that means in death. Like, he's willing to sacrifice his life in order to be useful and make up for all the things he failed at in the past. And I like that Yami, a person who is established from very early on in the series, to still have this sort of, not necessarily childish, but it's weird to say, because I can't say it's mature, but I'm not saying it's immature either. It's like this weird middle ground where he has this really good understanding of being serious when need be, but also respecting the feelings of the past. Like, he understands and remembers the relationships he's made throughout his life, and regardless of what happened on the other side of those relationships, regardless of what happened to him because of people in the past, as long as he's had a connection with you, he won't just let you go. And I think that's a very good thing. Like, it's not like Noct directly betrayed Yami in any way, shape, or form. It's not like he actually did something atrocious. It's just that in Noct's view, he did something irredeemable, but he never actually sat down and truly had the conversation with Yami to have this revelation about the solidity of their connection. That's a solid thing that fits both of their characters, and I'm glad that this reconciliation perfectly makes sense in the context of what we have for both characters. And I'm glad how it makes sense that Yami is the leader of the Black Bulls and the captain of the Black Bulls, while someone like Noct could never be, just because Yami has a deeper, more interpersonal understanding of people, even if it is completely organic. Like, Yami isn't a psychiatrist or anything, but just the way he views people, the way he views the world, and the way he interacts with people in that world, it allows him to take all these people with these dark, twisted pasts and bring them together to do great things. And of course, he's not going to let one of those people who can do great things just give up their life for a cause that he knows they really shouldn't be believing in. So all that really, really, really good. I love that in this chapter. It's really, really solid. And of course, we cut back to the past, and we see a certain conversation that was once had between Morgan, Noct, and Yami. And it was like, hey, well, Morgan was like, you and my brother are so much alike, it's almost insane. Like, not just magic, but actual personality-wise. Like, I'm literally his biological twin, but at the same time, y'all just seem to be a bit different than me. Like, completely personality-wise, all that. And just to emphasize the point, they both say, cut that out, you're being weird. At the same time, probably same tone, same tenor, all that. Really, really cool. And I think that's kind of fun. I have a friendship like that where, like, regardless, despite us having different views, different paths, different ways that we go in life, like, we're still kind of mentally in sync like brothers. Even though I met the man way after I was born. Like, this isn't my twin brother or anything, but this is just someone I met in life that seems to mirror me in a lot of ways. We share a lot of the same thoughts, a lot of stuff like that. So I definitely see where Morgan's coming from, where he's like, yeah, you two, you seem mentally linked in a weird way. And it was kind of destined for you two to get to fight together and go on and win the good fight. And that's why Morgan's like, it's frustrating to admit, but I think you're more suited to be my brother's partner than mine. And I made a joke out of that, but still, I think it's really, really cool that even Morgan, way back when, before he died, before any of this crazy stuff happened, that was evident. And it carries on to the modern day. And of course, with that reconciliation, with that recollection of the truth of the past, Noct just goes, "I then bet you can't keep acting like a kid forever, Yami. You gotta grow up, my boy." And of course, I love the banter between these two, because it really feels like a genuine conversation. Like, this could happen on a battlefield or like in the office. Like, you gotta grow up. And Yami's like, yeah, sure, of course I grew up, but I can still be a kid at heart. I still got my ways, my motivations, the things I got to do. And Noct, in the most flat way possible, is like, man, just shut up already and grow up, would you? And I love how Yami asks, how is any of this relevant, bruh? The King of Devils is just over there. And of course, the chapter ends with both of them declaring, in that linked way that they did in the past before, with a parallel to their past selves, to their modern selves, let's play with him a bit, shall we? And of course, that's the end of the chapter. Really cool reconciliation. I really love the duality themes and the partner themes of this chapter, especially the ones I wasn't expecting. Like Gray and Vanessa, they had been sort of like partnered up in the past. I remember Dante wanted both of them because they both had arcane stage magic, but it's a team up that I feel like you rarely see. Really, really cool to see that. Obviously, the duo of William and Yami, not William and Yami, William and Patry, they were literally one person for a long time. So it's really, really cool to see them split up in their own bodies, hanging out, being partners, taking care of each other. As we see, it's Patry's light that allows him to move between, on top of the spatial domain set up by Langris. So Langris is kind of there. He doesn't have a partner in this chapter, but these things happen. Of course, then we see on top of that, the main partnership of the chapter with Yami and Noct, and the other partnership of the chapter being in one other unexpected one with Sekirei, Swallowtail, and of course Zora. This chapter is full of duologies, which makes me, I really wish Asta and Yuno had a fight together already. And then also, where's Noelle? Like, I know everyone and their mother's asking for it, but like me, I'm asking for it too. Where the heck is she? Is she still just laying down? Is she taking a nap? Like, to be fair, she deserves a nap, a long nap. she was put through some stuff already, so I can definitely see why she's just being kept out of the narrative. But if we're already going to like Captain the Black Bulls tier, the only thing left, like, Noelle won't have her own individual curb stomp session. Like, everyone else is getting that, but how's she supposed to get that? We're just gonna get the light triad. But of course, I'm fine with that. I'm intrigued to see what Asta's gonna be doing now, because he definitely seems to be out of energy, out of viability. Like, he's literally gonna have to be thrown into Lucci at this point. The man has no energy left. So I'm wondering really how they're gonna do this. I'm seriously hoping for Melek to hop in, like, still. Like, I saw a joke about him, like, it was like the poking a stick meme, like, do something, please do something, because nobody, he has just been sitting there, like, and at least we didn't get just like a word from him this chapter. He's just off screen the entire chapter. But yeah, help or just sit there, or help or antagonize. Don't just be neutral, bro. We're waiting for you to do something. So there's some key players that I really do want to see just pull up and do something of substance, whether that be Noelle finally popping up, entering Saint stage, and maybe helping out her captain and vice captain, whether it be coming back. Like, we don't know what happened to That man he was punched to a different kingdom. Like, let's be real, that man is in a whole nother stratosphere right now, but he can just teleport back. So hurry up, get back here. Asta, go run over to Gray or something, get your heels up, my boy. We gonna need your help. And Lucci, keep doing you, my boy. You just staying gained up. I'm excited to see you work. However, I really wonder how these two are going to fight, because we know that Yami has a devil amp and was fully healed. But you're looking a bit worse for wear, my boy. Like, you need to run over to Gray and get healed up too. But I don't know. I'm intrigued. This is an interesting way to end off the chapter. I'm assuming we're going to see the true power of shadow magic and dark magic combined. And that'll be interesting. I wonder, if he has devil biology now, maybe that would make no sense, but it could work, and that would actually kind of work. It'd be stupid. It'd be so stupid. I doubt somebody would ever do it, but like, devil union is just a union between a devil and a human, right? And we know that Gray went out of her way to establish this chapter that Yami, while on the outside may seem mostly human, he seems to have devil biology on the inside. And we know that we've seen that Noct has devil unions that are purely like subservient, like these mid-level devils he controls are absolutely his, right? Like they have no autonomy of their own. They have to obey what he says because he beat them. But could Noct and Yami do a devil union and we get like a fusion dance scenario into Dark Noct or something like that? I know that'd be so stupid. That don't even consider what I just said. Though it would be kind of hype. Great chapter, 10 out of 10. Like I'm not even I have no complaints with the chapter. Art fantastic, parallels fantastic, partners fantastic, everything in the chapter great. The only complaint I have, admittedly, is that there's still no Adramelic and the excuse that Patrick can't fight. That's not point worthy. Like I'm not gonna take a whole point off for that. That's just minor stuff that I get. Once again, narrative writing wise, why you want to keep them out of the narrative. This isn't their story, unfortunately, so we can't have them in the narrative. However, those are my thoughts. Please tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And hope you guys have a good time hitting that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, do have a Patreon down below, and I appreciate any support you're willing to give. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.